DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another DeFi Kingdoms AMA. About half of us are in Denver, so I'm just going to caveat that up front. Please bear with us for any funniness, because we are on the road, which is likely why Sunbear and Dreamer don't have PFPs up yet, and so just bear with us as we make it work on the road and running mobile. But we are excited to be here and excited to be having this AMA live and in person for some of us from Denver. So, getting started. I don't know if we have a whole lot to talk about this week, because I don't think that much has happened this week, right? Like, we haven't really done a whole lot, or maybe we have.
It's been pretty quiet.
Yeah, I don't know. But there were a couple things, just like one or two pretty small things that happened this week, and one that happened last week. But first, let's talk Bad Mother Cluckers. So Bad Mother Cluckers is live. It is live and available as of Wednesday, so 2 days ago. And I'm going to stop talking and just turn it over to Beetle, Hubert, Magnus, Workhorse. Anything y'all want to say, whatever you want.
Go ahead, Hubert.
But he said your name first.
Shoot. Do it, Hubert. Do it.
Do
it.
Okay.
Man of the hour.
Hey guys. So yeah, we did release that. And I have seen many people manage to succeed, and I've seen many people that are struggling. And I'll just say I did try. I tried very hard to warn you guys that it was going to be a much greater challenge than previously. We did want to. We had goals of having it so that it felt like, in general, you either need to have very good heroes, well-equipped heroes, and that you would need to use potions most of the time. I have seen people that are able to do it without potions, and I mean, sometimes you can get lucky with things just working out, and other times there may be a skill or two that is particularly useful that I've been eyeballing since the release. So. But I mean, congrats to everyone that's managed to get equipment. We do have this week the double, like the launch week bonus on drop chances. So you have better chances to get moksha runes, better chances to get equipment and void shards, and that will go until a week from our release. So until I think right before the final raffle, or like the raffle turnover happens. So. So yeah, I mean, now's the chance to, if you're having not the greatest luck getting equipment, I think now's your chance to have better odds. I take advantage of that. I know it's a bit of a struggle to get used to the strategy and whatnot, but I've been seeing a lot of people posting a lot of different things about how they've succeeded. And I mean, if you don't normally come into our Discord, there's a lot of people there that have posted quite a few videos. And for everyone that has, done streams and helped the community out in like trying to figure out how to be successful in the fight, thank you all for that effort. It's great to see the community come together and face this new challenge. And so far I've been pretty happy with what I've seen. Those Bad Mother Cluckers, we named them that way for a reason. But it's not impossible to win. I even finally managed to get a win under my belt without even having with my team that doesn't have any equipment. So that felt good. It did take a couple retries, but I did it. I guess just, be on the lookout. Like, we did just barely release this. And so there are still some kind of bugs that we're running into still that, we didn't notice in our testing, but you guys have revealed in the process. And I know also there was a little bit of a hiccup just immediately at launch where some people weren't able to, claim those hunts, but that bug has since been resolved. We took care of that, I think within like 6 hours of the release or so. and that was a particularly fun one to figure out. It was not even that big of a deal, but it's sometimes those are just like very hidden in plain sight. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I don't want to take everyone else's chance to say something. So, Beetle, how do you feel? You've been working hard on this thing.
I'm trying to sleep right now. Hubert woke me up. No, thank you. I'm glad that you did the introduction because you said all the good things. But I'm most excited, I guess, on the technology side, the kind of combat engine side of all the new things that we've added. Hopefully people have seen and are appreciating how those are functioning and how they'll help combat in the future, especially with the couple brand new things that we haven't done before, like the delay events. So when those demon bucks run their dark destruction or whatever, and you got to watch out because everybody's going to get hit. It's a fun example of a delay event and how we might use those in the future with new classes and new enemies and things like that. And then the kind of leading into the ticks that are happening behind the scene with the time bar and status effects that they use ticks instead of turns. Will also open up huge avenues for us to iterate and improve and maybe even tweak current abilities to be more tick based instead of turn based, and just kind of make sure that everything is lining up with ease of use and making the battle fun and using kind of all of the things at our disposal. So yeah, those are the things I'm most excited about. It's good to have them out. I can't even tell you how many lines of code this was, but it's a huge release. And I haven't even mentioned, BYOP, which is another huge thing that is closing a loop on something that we've had in the game for such a long time. Now people can use their potions officially, which is super exciting. And props to the whole team, from API to contract to front end to combat engine and testing and everything, getting those in place and making, continuing to make this super fun system. Yes, lines of code. Yes. But yeah, that's me for now. Anybody else got any words?
Sure. Beetle, thank you for all your lines of code. They are incredible. Hubert, great job on the vision of this whole thing. I wanted to thank everybody on the team, all the testers along as Sashay and Winston. I think and all the knights, the fight turned out really hard, but totally manageable. It's a tough puzzle, but all the puzzle pieces are there that you need in order to solve it. And I think this was a huge, I don't want to call it like a hurdle that we overcame, but there's a lot that we overcame on this one in order to get the game progressed even further along. So I'm excited for what's next, and here's to more content. Thanks, everyone.
Real quick, not to interrupt, but does Slightly Sick Workhorse sound exactly like Tango to anybody else, or was that just me?
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
Here a little bit.
I agree with that.
Oh, okay.
Stay sick.
Carry on. Magnus, anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, like Beetle mentioned, it was a big undertaking on the technical side. Lots of lines of code on the contract side as well. Yeah, it was Pinecone and Beetle and I were working together to implement the BYOP feature, which I'm personally really excited about because that opens up a lot of doors with the in-game economy and the whole cyclical nature of everything. So very excited to kind of have that out and have everybody using it as well as the Bad Mother Clucker launch, which I love that name. Very exciting foundation for what we can do in the future with the game engine and how it's working together with the contract side of things.
Quick extra shout out on BYOP to Magnus and gang. I literally ran out of gold last night, and that has never happened before. So bullish.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's been an exciting launch for sure. Watching everybody in the community. I have lost count of how many things have been discovered, but I believe we put 8 new items in the game, and I think I've only seen 4, maybe 5. Hubert, do you know off the top of your head?
I think I've seen all but 2 things so far.
Okay.
I think.
A little more than I thought, but still, there's a couple undiscovered items out there. So make sure you keep looking, because you might discover something nobody's seen yet, which is super exciting as well. And that's why we do it that way, is to let people find to find that equipment and get to unveil it, which is always super fun.
And I guess just one other thing to add, along with this launch, we did also add our first sponsor to the hunt raffles, and just yesterday, and maybe Volan, you were planning on talking about this, so maybe I should stop if you wanted to
Go ahead.
go
Go for it.
But yeah, I did just want to mention that as this was kind of a little bit close to me, just because I was the one who did the contract code for it, and then Mr. Zipper was helping on the side. We were trying to get it added in without like disrupting anyone else from like getting everything all the way done in the first place, getting the hunt out and everything. So kind of like the C team came together to do this. So I just, because of that, I just am always paying attention to it. But we did get our first batch of winners with the first amount of 2,000 clay per day that is being rewarded. We have 24 days left now of that. You can see it if you go into the Crystal Vale Tavern and click on the board behind. What is our hunt guy's name? Elmer Longbranch. And yeah, I mean, 2,000 clay is a pretty decent amount with the price of clay right now. Shout out to Dags, who won first prize on that, and then I think one of these two says the name of something else that we know, but at least what's shown on there is NCD Crypto 2, whatever account that is, and Trader, who I think has won at least one of the crystal raffles in the past, and maybe even 2. So that might be a 3rd win, perhaps.
That's Karakeet.
Okay. So yeah, I think maybe I should go double check. Maybe you've won 3 at this point. So that's pretty good. But I mean, we also just barely added late last night or this morning. I'm not sure when that got added exactly. Probably this morning, but a little bit bigger of an improvement on the statistics, so that when you're looking at your chance to win, like any of right now, there's 4 different drawings that occur. You know, if you have two wins, which I have right now, I only have 0.17% chance to win. But we also do the statistics to show like your chance of winning at least one of the amount that's there if there's more than one available. So, you know, even having 2, I have a 0.69, a nice chance to win. So, you know, it's nice to be able to kind of see the full perspective of that. As we add more winners, that's just your odds of being one of them increases. So, I guess don't miss that opportunity. It's not going to last the whole time. So anyway.
You have the perfect percentage chance right now.
Yeah, I know. Nobody else play except don't
no
play,
more hunts. But yeah, 2,000 clay a day, going to split between 3 winners plus the crystal jackpot. So there are 4 winners a day right now, which is pretty awesome. It's pretty incredible to see. As a reminder, you can win more than once per day as well. So there's always a chance to pull in 2 of them, which is super cool as well.
And Bolan, could I add a little bit of excitement on this too?
Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah, I did a tweet on this as well yesterday, more from like the biz dev side. I think this is really cool, because you know Klaytn Foundation, they did want to support this new hunt and feature, but they're also helping us kind of set a precedent for others. Advertising in Web 2 was an interesting journey that I think we saw, from like non-existent, from like clickbait everywhere, from pop-ups, and it could really destroy the overall experience. And in Web 3, I think it changes it even further. There's probably going to be a lot of innovation here. What we're trying to do is to find ways for people to have some kind of a presence as a sponsor for various types of gameplay that doesn't feel like a pop-up, that doesn't feel like a lot of the Web 2 experience felt for most of us, and majority benefits those actually playing. So we are looking to do this ongoing, and that's why Hubert and others, we're so grateful that we found a solution that we can scale this, and it doesn't have to be a huge manual effort each time. But Sunbear and myself are in talks with many people out there that we're already working with, and maybe that scope will expand to others. So if somebody approaches us and it's obvious in our network and they want to put up some of their own token and we support it on chain, that's easy. We can plug that in, decide how many winners and everything. But imagine, others being like, hey, we want to potentially advertise like a hard wallet or something that's relevant to the audience, but isn't like, an Avalanche or a Metis or a Klaytn. Uh, Theoretically, they could buy Jewel and put it in the contract and say this is sponsored by XYZ sponsor. They're essentially paying for advertising space. Who are they paying? They're paying to the players. So it's a cool model. We'll see how it'll grow. It's a good idea, but good ideas are just ideas until we get many people paying us for it, or I guess paying the players for it. So excited that we have this first one going. We have a couple others already queued up, similar to the ideas with promotional visages. This is all an attempt to kind of level up and change the game. This is a business at the end of the day, and businesses in Web3 are meant to benefit the stakeholders and the holders of the tokens and the NFTs. We're really trying to find that balance. So appreciate everybody's excitement. As much as you can amplify what's going on with the Klaytn sponsored daily raffle, would be appreciated. We want to attract other people either covering it or getting in or participating. And hopefully, if we are successful, this won't be the only one. The intent is to have others. Now, they may not always have one up. We might have a week or two space in between. But we should hope and expect. And even if you out there in your own network knows of somebody that might want to advertise in some way to people in crypto or gaming, and you reach out, I think we are open-minded to all these ideas. We're just going to proceed cautiously to make sure that it never feels like kind of what I explained in the rise of Web3 or Web2 and advertising that we experienced. We want this to be good for everybody and for people to be stoked about it and to share as much as possible. And I think we're doing that so far.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely super exciting. And I'm just going to say it, even though it's a little bit alpha and I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I'm going to anyway. We do potentially have, another one lined up for the future. So, something that we're really excited about and working on continuing on, because it's just, an additional reward mechanic for everybody that's playing, which is great. And specifically rewarding, live and active gameplay, which is awesome. Beetle Dude, I would never switch to mellow yellow. Come on now.
Oh man, nostalgia.
I get enough nostalgia from DFK. That's what we're here for, One thing with Bad Mother Clucker that was, I don't think we mentioned at all yet, was a new power up.
Yeah, that's true. So I think hopefully you guys have noticed it's there. We do have a little thing to indicate that there is a power up available on the hunt. But the Thrifty power up is one that I'm happy to see in the game. It gives you an opportunity to recover some of the potions that you used during the fight. And that actually was the people that were running into that issue where they weren't able to claim their hunts. It was actually tied to that. There was one tiny little thing that we needed to change to make that not cause an issue. But so everyone that was stuck, you should have had that trigger and seen that the Thrifty power up saved you one of your potions. And so far, I've also, it seems like it's gone off at least 3 times for me, and it's pretty exciting to see since we got that out. So take a look if you haven't yet. It's there. The first tier is, I believe, 500 C Jewel to sign up for that, and then the tier 2, the tier 1 lets you like recover the lightweight potions, which would be things like health and mana vials or anti-blind or anti-poison potions. Not that I mean, I guess you guys could use the anti-poison if you wanted to, but it's not really going to help you right now yet. But the second tier will give you a chance to recover an additional potion, and it could be any amount, and that is the total amount. If you're on that tier, would be 1,500 C-Jewel for that one. And so you could recover any of the potions, swiftness or full heal, full mana, or anything else would potentially be recovered through that tier. So yeah, anyone else want to add to that?
I'll just say that I've seen it a few times in Discord where people were posting that it has popped off. So it's always fun to see, and fun to see it, returning that value to the players. So that's super cool. All right. Before we shift to our next topic, anybody have anything else that they wanted to add to the Bad Mother Cluckers currently topic? If not, we can always add it later. But last call for thoughts on that, and then we'll switch it up a little.
When Demon Bach plushie.
Ooh. Pie face. Add it to your list.
I mean, we got to get our Bad Mother Clucker wallet first.
That is true. We do need the Bad Mother Clucker wallet.
I really do need
that. So speaking of combat, there was some, IRL combat last week with Dreamer in the IFC event with Karate Combat. Dreamer, you want to talk about that whole experience?
Yeah, well, first off, the fight went as planned. If you go check it out, it's only about a 20-second fight. I do a Superman punch off the pit. It lands perfectly. Fight over. No need to watch further. That's how I remember it. I don't know if anybody else that tells me otherwise just feel it's fake. AI does a lot of stuff these days. No, just joking. I lost. That's okay. I got caught with a really good, but a pretty lucky punch. I have no damage, not even a bruise on my face or chin. Hit a nerve on my jaw and drops your body like a sack of potatoes. And that's what I was. I was a sack of dreaming potatoes. I was actually conscious the whole time in terms of my eyeballs. My body was not really connected to the rest of it, but when the ref came over, I thought he was standing us up, and it was interesting. I've never felt that before. It kind of felt like I was getting electrocuted. And my body was all warm and tingly, and the ref looks over me, and I'm like, yes, he's standing me up. And I started to get up. He's like, just stay there. And I'm like, can I keep fighting? And he kind of laughed. He's like, no. And I'm like, shoot. So I was unhappy about that. Got blitzed and caught with a punch that I don't think anybody expected to do what it did, and that's okay. But if you pay attention, all of the hype and all of the views and all of the excitement around each of the fights, we had prime real estate for DeFi Kingdoms logo. It's quite beautiful. There's a lot of logos in the pit, and they usually have two cameras. So some logos on the opposite side. They usually don't get in it as much, but some good exposure there. A lot of good discussions as well. I won't share details of them, but there are some people in attendance and some people working with Karate Combat that we've started some interesting discussions on. And just more awareness. I think the experience itself was interesting, very high up, and us all showing up not really knowing how it's going to happen, what we do. I will say, I don't think anybody should do something like this, only thinking they're going to do it once. I intend to participate again. I don't know when that would be, but the IFC has some cool stuff coming up, and we'll see what benefits us and what is balanced. But yeah, I wasn't really going in there to only fight and only win. There's a lot of other potential wins there, and I think we won across the board, minus one pretty awesome flash KO, as they call it. So yeah, that's really exciting because we were also negotiating this PvP deal that maybe I won't jump too far ahead, Bolon, because you might want to get here later. But some background with Mexico. Guys, the day before the fight, we had multiple hours internally and then 1 hour with their team pitching to the final decision makers. And we're going to respect our partners and everything on the details of the deal and the agreement and everything. But I'll just say, and I hope that you trust when we say, this deal is incredible. It's incredible for everybody. It's good for Metis. It's good for us. It's good for players. PvP coming in a way that will be hopefully delivered in high quality. Initially with private matches and tournament focused, but this happened while I was preparing for the fight. And people kept asking, what's priority? Are you getting distracted? This and that. There's limited time in a day. And that we always, as we do different things, especially on the biz dev side that are unproven but have potential, there's always going to be a cost of not doing something else. So really tried to make sure that this whole thing, not only we found new leads and new relationships and a lot of exposure, which I think we succeeded across the board, but this deal did not get held up. Was able to present, and I think 2 hours before actually went to the arena is when a lot of things were finalized, and that was really carried across the line and started start to finish by Sunbear and team over the last month or so. Big efforts, a lot of hours across the whole team, Magnus and Fox too. I would say this whole process probably was 100+ hours of team effort. Although it was quick, it definitely was not easy. It was a good solution, and it was kind of well timed in IRL combat as well. Didn't go my way, but we lose fights all the time. That's part of the game. If the whole point was to never lose, then I think we'd always be set up to eventually be kind of defeated. But I lost, definitely not defeated, and I think leaving that experience, DeFi Kingdoms gained more than most, if not everybody else.
There was a question in chat. Do you get the opportunity to retry for half cost?
I was actually, I was serious when I was like standing up. I would have loved to get up and retry immediately, because I wouldn't have been playing mid guard like I was. I would have had my hand more closer to my jaw. Now that I knew that Phil was blitzing, but that whole process, I approached it quite differently. I went into that with a lot of expectations that, to be quite honest and frank, I was misled a bit, and that was okay. There are no friends in the fight game apparently, and I learned that on the next go. Do I get a retry? So some of this might be alpha, some not. I think they announced it, but they're looking to have the next event stateside at Consensus in Austin. Like actually built out the pit in the event, I think, is the plan. Who knows if that happens? We'll see who wants to fight. A lot of people are raising their hand, but when it comes down to it, it takes a certain bit of courage and upside relative to the downside. Nobody's getting rich off this stuff. Let's see who shows up. Will I retry against Phil again? I don't know. There's a lot of things that I probably won't share publicly that made that leave a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, and it's not getting caught with a punch. I think there's a lot of other things that went into that just out of respect to everybody, I'll leave out. But there's a lot of other people to fight as well. The event after that is potentially maybe going to be somewhere in Asia, possibly like Singapore token. That would be really cool as well. So I know it's probably a joke question. It's a great question, but if there is a retry, it'll likely be in May and Consensus or token in Singapore.
Very nice.
But side comment, we are remaining close with Karate Combat. We are looking to see what else we can do. The visit sales were awesome. They love the new users that we have here. Obviously, we want to keep that going. We love the exposure in the pit, and when they've played commercials for us, really want that to continue. They're going to be in Dubai in April for their next event, not an IFC event, but their next one. And we're going to be working hard to make sure we keep that relationship warm, make sure it's mutually beneficial, and we'd love to keep a spot on that mat. So we'll see how that goes. But good partners, really good people, and good network as well. So successful effort, and there will be a retry at one point if they let me.
Awesome. Yeah, they have been great partners without a doubt. And obviously we are all very happy that you're in good shape and you're doing fine. For anybody with concerns, Dreamer's in Denver right now. So he got home from the fight and then hopped back on a plane, came over to Denver. He's been working hard here. He was on stage yesterday. If y'all didn't see that, I recommend it. Go check it out. But yeah, he's doing good.
Yeah, I'm extremely lucky, guys. People walked away from fights going to the dentist and all banged up and everything. I was fine. Like I streamed with Grady that night. We went out and got tacos, and I was just bummed. Like my jaw didn't even hurt. I don't even have a bump on it. It hit a button, man. 1 in a billion shot. And silver lining is a lot of fighters in like professional fighting. When you drop somebody, they rush you and they try to get hits in to stop the fight. Um, there was none of that. I didn't get hit with really anything. I had bruises on my leg from kicking him, and that's it. So, brain okay. They saw no sign of even minor concussion. It was just, look it up. I forget the name of the nerve in your jaw, but if you hit the right place, 2 pounds of pressure, you know, you just drop. There's nothing really you can do. You can't train for that. You can't go in and be like, punch my jaw 1,000 times, make me stronger. Bodies are weird, and some parts of our bodies are susceptible to that. So in a way, I'm pretty lucky because I got to participate, got all that exposure, got to do a little fun thing in the pit and everything, and I have like no pain, no damage outside of Prigs. I actually went into that with a pretty serious rib injury that didn't fully disclose. That still hurts, but that was from like 3 weeks before the fight. So brain's okay. Didn't go to the hospital. Was okay immediately after. Hit the ground running. Loving being in Denver.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And as Dreamer mentioned, and as we mentioned, he was on stage tomorrow or yesterday, not tomorrow. Sorry, yesterday. Maybe I have a concussion. There's some pretty big news that was dropped yesterday, and if you've missed it, that news. So Dreamer kind of set it up there for me, which I appreciate. This is a brand new partnership that we just finalized, and we're able to announce here at EthDenver with the Metis blockchain. Metis is actually I think they are the headline sponsor of EthDenver. So that's really cool. And being able to be here, get to meet a lot of them in person, have Dreamer get up on stage with them, which was super cool. I should have loaded that clip, but I didn't, and I apologize, but you can find it on YouTube or in Discord. But really, really stoked to be announcing this partnership with Metis and the fact that we will be bringing player versus player combat to the Metis blockchain. I will say up front before we go into other people, we're going to try to pull some combat related questions and or some Metis related questions. So if you have questions as we're talking, please drop them either on the talk site, the YouTube chat, or the Discord chat. I'll be monitoring all three, and we'll try to pull some questions there. That will probably be the focus of the questions that we answer, given that this is exceedingly new information. So if you have questions, please drop them in one of those three places. And right now we're just going to talk about it a little bit, and then we'll get into some questions as well. Sunbear. MVP Sunbear, I feel like you need first words here.
Hey everybody, yeah, just sitting here with Tango and KP and Dreamer as we think about all the things that have happened this week. It's been amazing. Really excited about Metis, excited about this team. There's a few teams out there that when you get to know them, you see they have the same vision, they have the same excitement, they can see what's possible, and Metis definitely sees what DFK is capable of. They've seen what we've gone through, what we've conquered, and what's possible going forward. And as we brainstormed with this team and really took a deep look at their technology and their chain and compatibility and explored all those options, it was super fun to find what was possible here. And we kind of hit a point where we realized like there's no third realm there. It's just not some good fits for some various things we explored. But when we really looked at like who they are, what they're about, what their brand is, as you see in the video that Dreamer talked about being that Greek goddess, Greek kind of feel, mythology and everything, the Colosseum just came to mind and came out, and we just really started exploring that as an option. And when the team saw that we could accelerate PvP for the DFK players and to really bring this to life and find a deal with a great partner like this that would support us in so many ways, we just got really excited. Everybody got excited. And so just super thrilled to see that this could happen before Denver 2. I think both teams wanted it to happen, and we worked really hard to make it happen. And to be here with them side by side and talking to people and sharing the excitement and the vision And also, I know Bolan's been saying we're not quite sure exactly what the build out will look like, but we have so many good ideas about what it can look like, and we made sure it was going to be really possible, not just possible, but awesome and doable. And before we proceeded to put this deal together, so just really excited about it. I'm sure other people have a lot of things to say about it, but I can't be happier. I'm just super excited.
Yeah, Dreamer mentioned it, but this came together very, very rapidly, and a lot of that is because of the drive both teams had to see this come to fruition and to find a way to work together. For those of you that have not seen it, Dreamer, Sunbear, myself, and KP did a little recording yesterday at EthDenver in one of their podcast booths. It is up on YouTube as well as in the Discord announcements channel. But we talked a little bit about it there, but I'll just recap because I think it's crazy and exciting. But we met Metis, Dreamer met Metis actually, a couple years ago, and we've stayed in touch with them. Of course, as I hope you all know by now, we love making friends and getting to know as many people as we can. But then, about a month ago, we really started talking to them again, and it was pretty quickly realized that with the way that their blockchain is set up, the ability to put, potentially the potential of a full DFK realm there would be pretty limiting. And so, we told them that, and their response was, okay, well, let's figure out what we can do. And we took that to heart and did a lot of brainstorming internally and kind of came up with this brand new idea of doing an unreleased feature and putting it there. And all in all, in the course of about a month, this has all come together, come to fruition, and has now been announced. And it's just super exciting. It's really awesome to have a partnership with Metis and to have a partnership with a team who sees our vision, sees what we're building, and believes in it. I would say at least damn close to as much as we believe in it, which is really, really cool to see. Anybody want to add anything on that front, or on the Metis front in general, I guess?
I'll add a little bit on that timeline and everything. Yeah, so I met Elena 2 years ago at EthDenver, and it was kind of cool. It was at Breckenridge. Everybody was getting COVID and dying at altitude, and it sucked. But one highlight from that was, in the last day, I was able to have brunch with her and learn a little bit about. I keep saying Metis, but I think, is it Metis? I think it's like Metis. Is the right way to say it. I'm not sure. Same thing, like we used to say Avax, and Luigi was like Avax, and I've been brainwashed to always say Avax. So we'll figure that out. But anyway, we had talked initially, and like the offering of DeFi Kingdoms was more gamified DeFi at that point. We were on the verge of launching our subnet and adding more and more features to prep for gameplay and everything, and it wasn't right time. It wasn't the right fit. And their team, I swear, they've had turnover, significant turnover the last 2 years, because this time around, I really didn't know most of the team, and I met a lot of them a few times. We actually considered something a year ago as well, and it wasn't really the right time or fit, especially considering both times we talked, it was right when we were launching Crystal Vale, and then it was right after we had moved to Klaytn. So the stars kind of aligned here, and I do think that Magnus, Fox, Sunbear, Bolan, all VIPs here. But I do want to give a shout out to Flu, who initially reached out and made the reconnection with them. So Flu's somebody that's been an OG in the community for a long time. And he's had his opinions and everything at times, but we've stayed close. And I try to help him with things, and he tries to reach out and help DFK. It's really cool to see how people, whether they've moved on to other things or not, still keep like their love for this project and this game, because we definitely need all hands on deck with the future. We're on the verge of not only having real combat and then applied with now multiple hunts and hopefully more different variations of that to come in the PvE side, where we're not taking the foot off the gas on like everything else that needs to be there, but we're adding kind of a capstone to many competitive players that either aren't active or are looking forward to it on PvP. And we need to continue to hopefully bring back some OGs, to get new future OGs, and just to keep that vision live, because this was a team effort. This was a combined effort with Metis guys, and it was even a combined effort with some old school community guys as well. So much love to everybody involved. Excited about what's to come, and I could talk for a lot longer about what I think a successful Coliseum feature would do for the realms in Crystal Vale and Sarandale. It really ties it all together. It could even allow for an easier on-ramp where people could go right to the Coliseum and just start, depending on how we end up setting it up over there, start buying heroes or teams, or be ready to start fighting and hop into tournaments that are sponsored by major names with big giveaways that are covered, from an esports perspective by our own influencers and possibly others, and Metis and others to come to the chain. All of that will then be kind of like an entry to the broad, huge, giant beast that is DeFi Kingdoms. So could be a new finding tactic as well. So people see that vision. It isn't only taking everything that we have and then adding player versus player. It's much more than that, and it has the potential from a value add to the space to be seen as that over time. We just have to deliver. We have to make sure that we have the right people, right focus, right balance, and continue to deliver as we have for the last 2.5 years.
I unmuted first. Great. No, thanks. That's it's been really, really great over the past probably like 3 to 4 weeks, starting with like Sun Bear and all those. We've been meeting with Metis, and they've been really great guys. And it's really cool to see the team come together and pull towards this, because we really wanted a good place for PvP to live. And Metis, from their side, they have a lot of really cool things going for their chain. They're in L2. They have a really good DeFi ecosystem, but they haven't really got a lot of games. And they're like, let's go after a game, let's go after the game in the space. Let's go after DeFi Kingdoms. And so seeing their excitement about that, we really wanted to find something that would be a home run for that. And there was a lot of having to think outside the box, because we have a specific way that we've historically tried to prioritize how we do things with on-chain gaming and all this sort of stuff. And so trying to figure out how can we make this experience work on a chain in the Ethereum ecosystem like Metis. And so there was a lot of brainstorming done, a lot of thinking, and shout out to Magnus, who first led that charge and was like, well, here's some ways that we could do this in a way that would still be a very effective and fun and sort of a good experience for our users. And then Hubert also was involved pretty heavily in that, and we came up with not just one, but a lot of really good ideas of ways that we could make this work. And so having that really just made it so that we were in a position to actually pursue a deal like this. And it's really cool because it opens up a lot of possibilities in the future as well. But I'm just really, really pleased with the dev side of things and the technical side, the amount of work and thought that went into that to find not just one, but a lot of good solutions. And now it's just a matter of trying to figure out which one's the best one, which one do we like the best, and just start to build it. Actually, we've already started on some of the build things there. So I'm just excited about that, excited to be a part of this team. Actually, there was just everybody firing on all cylinders, and I felt like there wasn't a single person who just had to do everything themselves. Everyone was just working together, and it all worked out really well. So shout out to everyone there that was involved. And I'll go back to muting now. Thank you.
Beautiful. All right, we got a few questions rolling in, so I'm going to grab some of them. I've answered a couple in chat, but just to repeat them out loud. So it isn't Metis. Metis, is that right? Yeah, I'll learn. It is a EVM compatible chain, so MetaMask does work. We will be exploring integrations with our partners, of course, as well. As far as what are the anticipated tokenomics, so with it being the Coliseum will not introduce a new power token. It is not a full-blown realm like Crystal Vale or Sarandale. It is the home of PvP. It is the Coliseum. So there's not going to be a new power token with that or anything. As far as use cases for our current tokens, that's still kind of all in the development phase, so we probably won't say too much about that just yet. But if anybody wants to add anything to that answer, feel free. All right. Any sort of meta subsidy at PvP launch will help greatly. Yes, part of this deal is actually an allocation for player incentives. So probably won't go into much detail on that front yet either, but that is actually a direct part of the deal, is some included player incentives. So that's something that we're also very excited about and wanted to make sure that that was included in what we worked out with the Metis team. Let's see.
Can I add just on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a chunk, and like a big chunk too, of this, we intentionally said, we're looking to make this possible. We're not trying to. It's not going to be an unreasonable deal or anything. And we've learned a lot now. Not a lot of other protocols in the space do what we have done in a number of different ways, but in this context, it's really seeking out a new chain to create something new. So with Avalanche, we really created subnets with them. They had this idea for subnets. They had the blueprint, and working with Mr. Fawn, Fox, and Magnus and others really came out their awesome offering that they have now. So we partnered in making something new, this DApp specific chain that could support more volume and transactions than any other chain or DApp out there. And that was pretty awesome. I think, looking at the move from Harmony to Klaytn, we were in survival mode, and we definitely appreciated being marked to market and seeing that value. We really looked forward to the connections and the backing that was there that are no longer there, but they're shifting again. We'll see how they pan out. But we learned a lot from both of those experiences, and one of those is we need to have zero expectations of things covering costs, marketing costs, and potential rewards for players. So this bucket, it's a big chunk, but it covers all those things. So, costs on Klaytn, we've had to after the fact, we had to realize, man, we have a lot of costs on just running like RPCs and everything. Man, I wish we would have could bake that in initially. Because when you start adding everything up, even big numbers, it's not like you're just good forever. So I also think they really valued that we set aside a bucket to be used for, it isn't purely player rewards, but that is a major focus on it. But it's anything related to costs that we would have had to otherwise incur to launch, to grow, to market, and to make players happy. And just so happens that tournaments are a great freaking way to find incentives internally and externally and sponsors. We're trying to figure it out with hunts now. We're going to probably try to learn from that and keep that network to apply to future tournaments. So I think it's great that you highlighted that, Bolon. We're trying to be cautious of details and everything to respect our partners, but people should know that a big part of this deal that the entire team fought for and that Metis fully agreed with and supported was to make sure that the experience, the longevity, and the level of rewarding was baked into the deal.
Most definitely. Let's see. Hubert, will pets and potions be usable for PvP?
That's the plan. We want the PvP experience to be, we're trying to have this all be a complete game. The Coliseum is a part of the game and not a kind of a separated thing, even though if it exists on Metis. So yeah, our plan is to include potions, to include equipment, and all the pieces that go along with that as well. We're working through what we can and can't do right now, but we do plan to, my goal is to have it all feel seamless. Like you're not having to learn a whole separate system to do PvP versus PvE. So yes, that's the plan anyway.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. One more for you. Where did it go? I lost it. Are we still holding on to releasing all basic classes before PvP goes live? I know we probably won't go too deep into timelines just yet, but just general thoughts on that.
So no, we are not. I mean, this partnership with Metis has given us a good motivation to see what we can do with what we have, and get as much out as we can as we do it. But I expect we're not going to have all of the basic classes ready by the time we have our first offering of PvP. However, we aren't going to just be ignoring it, and I think it's still going to be fairly fun, I believe, because every time a new class comes out, it just means the meta is going to change. People are going to be trying different combinations, and that experience, I think, is generally pretty fun to be a part of. So. And it just gives us a little bit more motivation and oomph to get that all out there. So I don't really see it as a bad thing per se. Previously I was saying that you wanted to get the basic classes out first, just so that we can have a more complete combat system. And because of this, there will be occasionally new mechanics that might be added. I'm not sure that we're going to have subclass added, for example, initially, but that will be something that will come along the way. And just kind of the bigger core mechanics that are intended to be there will just be something that some of those will be added after the fact.
Yeah, and just kind of highlighting off of that, this partnership allows us to really accelerate some things like PvP itself, and so it's an opportunity to do something that we did not necessarily expect to be able to do just yet. Which is really cool. So that way we can keep building and keep adding to it as it goes, but the basis is there. People can start using it, can enjoy it. Sir Worm asked, did I hear correctly that tournament play is part of one of the phases? Yes. So the first phase is, live PvP with private matches. The second phase is automated tournaments that, will run and will be potentially sponsored, have different prizes. There's all kinds of stuff we can do with that, which is super cool. And then the third phase is actually adding to that tournament system so that anyone can build and run their own tournament. We've talked a couple times about the Mythic Squad Void Hunt tournament, which was absolutely incredible. Huge shout out to Mythic Squad and Sticks Intern for putting that together. It was an absolute blast. They would be able to come in and host a PvP tournament utilizing a system that's already there for them. So it'll really cut out a lot of that manual work that goes into running a tournament as it stands today, which is super exciting.
Yeah, and just to add on to that vision, Avalanche could come through and say, we're going to do like an Ava Labs Invitational, and here's our requirements. Let's say, let's just assume that at one point we have like an Avalanche themed Visage or something. They could choose to put requirements and say, you have to have the Visage, or you have to hold this amount of a Vox, or you have to only mythic heroes or only common heroes. Like, I think the idea is to eventually start thinking of customization of these tournaments. So initially it's getting the ability out there, but the potential here to have hosted tournaments where it may not be what we're doing, but people can kind of set qualifiers in a way that they feel is creative and fun for whatever their brand or goal is. And then they can also put in their rewards. So, they come in with, in this example, maybe it's a bunch of Avox or Avalanche merch or a ticket to their summit, or they just announced a new like influencer program. Maybe it has something to do with that. So the hosted tournaments, I think, has a lot of potential if we as players in the core community enjoy it, we make a good game, and there is a lot of people enjoying the play. It should attract creators, sponsors, different communities, different invitationals, different leagues, different guilds, and people can kind of have fun with it in whatever way they want. And then as Kingdom Studios continues to come out with new things, every new thing in the full realms, whether it's a new boss fight or a part of a travel or new levels or new class, kind of as Hubert mentioned, not only classes, but pretty much every new thing, it's going to feed into and affect us in some way. Just as new players that come in for PvP, eventually they're going to get pulled into the full realms in some way, even if it's just to go level up your heroes that you've been fighting with. So that's why when we say this is not cannibalizing and is very much synergetic with our other realms, the potential here, even a fraction of the potential, holds true to that statement.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. I'm going to grab a couple of questions real quick because two of them are going to get the same answer from me. And then we have a special guest we're going to pull up to wrap this AMA up. So will power-ups be viable on Metis, and is bridging back and forth going to be needed? TBD. So that is, part of the considerations that we're looking at as we work on finalizing what our build plan will look like. So we don't have a final answer for either of those things just yet. But I will say that, making sure that it is a good user experience is, of course, at the top of our minds. And so, that is a priority as we look at, how we build this out. But I don't believe we have a final answer for either of those. Anybody want to add anything to that? All right. One last question, and this is a hypothetical. So if anybody wants to speculate, feel free. I'm sad that we don't have a second best dad here for this one. Thoughts on having special visual and or audio sound effects only in the Coliseum?
How recklessly we speculate. I think, and if we're talking like within the combat engine, I think we will have specific audio tracks for the tournaments and private matches. But yeah, as far as like changing up the way skills work and or look and things like that, that I can feel SPD the hairs on the back of his neck rising with
And
that
mine.
and Beatles too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think you're right. I think we've, it's all TBD a little bit, but I think more likely there will be different, there might be different backgrounds, and those could have different tracks or different environmental sounds and things like that. So generally, I would expect it to be across the board similar. So yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate you all. And we have with us today Caracat, who, as we mentioned earlier, was one of the winners of our very first Clay jackpot, as well as I believe he's won the Hunts raffle a couple other times as well. So welcome, Caracat. Thank you for joining us. We're glad to have you here. You are welcome to say or ask whatever you would like, and then we'll have you give us a good bullish to end this one.
Hey, I hope you can hear me. Thanks a lot for letting me join you guys. I don't have any questions. I mean, I have a ton of questions, but I'm not going to ask any questions now. I'm just super happy to be part of this community. And for me, as probably for most here, this project is way more than just a hobby. It's really, what I'm crazy excited about. And based on my number of hunts, you can probably tell. So yeah, I'm super bullish on the vision of DeFi Kingdoms, even though I probably can only grasp a very small part of it. Thanks everyone for what you're doing. Bullish.
Bullish.
Thanks, Caracat.
Bullish.
Again on the win.
And we will see you all next week.
Thanks, everybody.